reported that once in Calcutta, Mother Teresa was tending to a woman who was quite ill. She had sores all over her body, and these sores were infected with bugs. And as Mother Teresa cleaned her wounds and tended to her, the woman screamed in pain, and she even swore at Mother Teresa. She was very vile. And Mother Teresa just continued to clean and take care of this woman. And finally, the woman with the sores turned to Mother Teresa and she said, "Sister, why do you do this? Not everyone behaves like you. Who taught you?" And Mother Teresa replied, "My God taught me." The woman said, "I want to know more about your God. I want to learn about your God." Mother Teresa bent over and kissed her on the forehead, and she said, "You know my God. My God is called love." My God is called love. Thank you all for coming out today, this chilly Alaskan day. At my house this morning it was 2 below, which was a little bit better than last week. It was 4 below, so we're moving in the right direction at least. Thank you for coming out. And welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. The title of my talk today is The Power of Love. I'm going to talk about 3 things. The power of love, how does love work, and thirdly, how do we harness that power? So how does love show up in our lives, the power of love? Well, it's huge. It's throughout literature. Almost every book, novel, is filled with stories of love. There is a theme of love in almost all of literature and music. It's rampant throughout all musical songs. Movies and plays. Love causes wars. Love ends wars. Love makes people do seemingly irrational things. Makes people do truly wonderful things. Love touches the lives of all of us. We are not made to live in isolation. We have a biological human need for interdependency. We have a need and a desire to be loved, and we have an equal need to love others. Love is two-sided. But for real wisdom, I think that it can be wise to turn to kids, because kids have some great insight on love. So here's some responses that we had. 9-year-old Bart, when he was asked, "How can you tell when people are in love?" he said, "When people just stare at each other and don't eat their food." Other people care more about the food. 9-year-old Michelle was asked, "What are most people thinking when they say, 'I love you'?" She said, "Yes, I really do love him, but I hope he showers at least once a day." How does a person learn to kiss? Karen, age 9, said, "It might be helpful to watch soap operas all day long." Now this is really insightful. When is it okay to kiss someone? 7-year-old Pam said, "When they're rich." I wonder where she heard that. Now Tammy, 7-year-old Tammy, to the same question replied, "It's never okay to kiss a boy. They always slobber all over you." That's why I stopped. See, these kids have got this love thing really figured out. But I saved the best for last. This is 8-year-old Camille. When she was asked, what is a surefire way to find love? She said, shake your hips and hope for the best. So how does love work? Everybody voted that we talk more about science. So how does love work from a scientific, biological standpoint? One thing is that the protein molecules behave differently when we experience that emotion that we call love. And it's a thing called coherency, and the best example that I could come up with it are in fish or birds. You've seen a flock of birds, and they're going along, and then whoof, they just turn. All of them seem to know at once when to turn and what to do. I mean, is there some signal? How do they know? Do they have a code? We don't know. Or fish. You watch fish in a big tank, and there's a whole school of fish swimming along, and whoo, they all just turn at once. That's this coherency, and that's what the protein molecules within our bodies do when we are experiencing this thing that we call love. There is an organization known as the HeartMath Institute that studies love and people in love. And they have come to some great conclusions. This is a group of medical doctors and PhDs, doctors of philosophy as well as medical doctors, and they're studying love. Came to the conclusion that the heart is the center of love in our bodies. The HeartMath Institute studies the link between the head and the heart, and this link is more powerful than we have ever imagined. This is something I didn't know. The heart has its own nervous system. The heart is not just an organ that pumps blood throughout your body. It is its own independent organ. The heart has its own nervous system, and it creates a powerful electromagnetic field. The circuitry of the heart generates up to 60 times the electrical amplitude of the brain. In reading some of their literature, I came across a great quote. This is in the HeartMath Institute. The electromagnetic signals that our heart rhythms produce can actually be measured in the brain waves of people around us. Think about that. You know, you've seen people, you can tell, oh, those two got it on. They are. That's what that is. You can pick that up. And we can sense that in people that we love and we know. We can feel that, and it's the electrical impulses in their hearts are registered in us. A few moments of heart-focused breathing and the intentional recall of positive emotion changes heart rhythms to a more coherent pattern. That's in that the birds and the fish coherent pattern. And so this is the exercise, and I'm going to ask everybody to do it. So if you would join me in this, you can settle into your chair. Relax. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. Take a nice, big, deep, cleansing breath. Exhale. Now inhale, and as you inhale, focus on your heart as you breathe in. And now concentrate on a positive feeling or attitude as you breathe out. Heart in, positive feeling out. Lock in this feeling as you continue to breathe in and out through your heart. Breathe through your heart. Positive feeling or attitude as you exhale. Think of that. Someone special that you love. And if you can do this for just a few minutes a day, you can create that coherency within your system, within your body. So our third question, how do we harness this power? Remember, we live in a reciprocal universe. What we put forth into the universe is what comes back to us. So if we want to harness this power, we do it by giving it away. The best way to attract love into our lives is to love. And yet we're not taught that. We're guarded. Oh, I'll be hurt if I love. Or I can't risk that. When it's the opposite that's true. If we can truly love, if we can let ourselves go, we can attract more of it. In our practitioner class Thursday night, one of the students made a profound statement. And this is a paraphrase. I didn't get the exact quote, but it's pretty close. I realize that I don't have to go out and look for love. I only acknowledge that it is always there and then open up to it. Out of the mouths of babes. Story of a lady by the name of Dawn Cusell in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. She had desired to have a relationship. She would like to have a man in her life, and she had gone through the normal things. She'd been to dating sites online. She'd done all the stuff and really didn't find much. She wasn't really one to go out to bars and clubs and things like that, and she just wasn't finding anything. So one day she just did a simple little prayer. And essentially it's what she said in this prayer is, God, if you don't want me to be single, you're going to have to help me. You're going to have to bring a man into my life because I sure don't seem to be able to find one on my own. And a short amount of time later, her phone rang, and it was her friend who wanted her to go out. It was a Friday night, and she said, oh, let's go out. I know where there's going to be this great party. Let's go to this party. And everything in her body said no. And she said, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to go to a party and meet some guy at some party. She said, let's just go out and get a movie, and we'll stay home and watch a movie. And her friend argued it, but finally conceded, and they finally decided they were going to go get a movie. Well, they went and picked up a movie, and they were headed home. She had just bought a brand new car, and all of a sudden behind her, bleep, 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 oh, the lights. She looked down and realized she was going a little too fast. Oh, she pulled over, and the policeman came up to the car, and he said, ma'am, do you realize you were going 56 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone? She says, oh, no, officer, I did not. It's a brand new car, and it was so smooth. It was so, I had no idea. And then the familiar lines. I think we've probably all heard of it, or at least most of us have heard it. May I see your license and your registration? And he collects those documents, heads back to the cruiser, and she knows what he's doing back there. And sure enough, he comes back, but he not only has one ticket, he's got 2 tickets. And the second ticket is for expired emissions test. It hadn't been emission tested. It was a brand new car, to her. It was a used car, but it was brand new to her, and the previous owner didn't keep the emissions test up. So she protested to this policeman. She did notice that he was a rather handsome man. And so he said, no, it doesn't work. So she got both tickets. He said, you do have the right for a hearing. You can appear so-and-so. And she thought, well, maybe the judge will be a little more sympathetic. I mean, it's a new car. It was just a simple mistake. And then it was not my fault that the previous guy didn't get the emissions test. So she appeared at the hearing, which was her right, and of course the policeman had to show, and she didn't think too much about it. And she was expecting a policeman, but the policeman did show up, but he wasn't in uniform. He was in, pair of nice slacks. He had on a dress shirt. He had on a nice tie, and she thought, well, Nice dresser, too. I kind of like that. And so she learned the policeman's name was Carl, and she explained her side of the thing to the judge, and the judge said, "Is that all you got?" And she said, "Yes." And she said, good judge said, "Guilty. Here's your fine. Here's what it is." And she was stretched to the max in her budget with the new car. She didn't have the money to get the emissions test. She really didn't have the money for the fine and the other stuff. And as she was going out, she just fell apart and she just started crying. And she heard this baritone voice behind her, and it was Carl, the policeman. And he says, "Are you all right?" And she said, "Yes, I'm going to be all right. It'll be okay, but it's hard to get through this." And he said, "Well, Dawn, I'm sorry, is there anything that I could do?" And she says, "No, but I'll make it." So that was sort of the end of that. But she did remember he did seem awfully nice, and she liked that very much, that he was considerate and he cared about her when she was crying. So as she was pulling out of the same video store not too much later, she wasn't surprised to see Carl, the policeman, there. And this time he was in uniform. And he approached her and he said, "Dawn, I'm really sorry. I feel bad that I had to give you that ticket. And I was just wondering, would you like to go to dinner some night?" And she thought, well, I guess, and he is kind of handsome. So he took her to her favorite place to eat, the In-N-Out Burger. It was her favorite place, and he just seemed so relaxed. And what she really wanted in a guy was not so much good looking or had a lot of money, but she wanted an honest guy who would really care for her. Well, what she discovered in Carl the policeman was exactly that. And when she wrote the article and submitted it to Guideposts, her last line in it, "And he's been my husband now for 10 years. Stevie was right. Love is out there. It's like the abundant universe that we live in. We don't have to go find it. All we have to do is open ourselves up to it, and it will come to us. What I'll close with today, and this is the thing that I kind of want everybody to take away with. This is a Teilhard de Chardin quote. He wrote, "Someday, after mastering the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, we shall harness the energies of love. And then, for the second time in the history of the world, man will have discovered fire." And so it is with that awareness of love that surrounds us at this and in every moment. I invite my colleagues to join me in holding our congregation in love and light, in prayer, as we recognize that there is indeed a power in the universe. One power, one presence, one life. And that life is the life of God. That life is the life of each and every one of us. And that life is a life of love. And so as we come together at gatherings such as this, we know that this service, this day, is grounded and founded in love, the very love of God. And I speak my word now for each and every person who is facing the very real challenges of living in this world. The challenges of the appearance of lack and limitation. We know that we do live in an abundant universe. And just like love, it is always there, and it is only up to us to open our hearts and accept it. To accept that abundance that is always there. And so on behalf of those who are facing challenges of not enough money to last a month, too many bills and not enough income, we just simply know that behind that appearance there is a truth, and that truth is that we do live in an abundant universe, and that our needs are met in this and in every moment. And I speak my word for those who are facing medical challenges, dis-ease. We just simply know that within each and every one of us is a blueprint that is perfect, a pattern that is absolute perfection. We were made in that perfection. As beloved children of God, we have within us all that is perfect. And it is that perfection which I call forth for each and every person who is experiencing the effect of dis-ease. And lastly, I speak my word for each and every person who is feeling separation, who is feeling a lack of love in their life. There is no lack of love. Love is the engine of the universe. Love is what makes the world go around. Love is what compels us. Love is what drives us. Love is what supports us. And for those who are feeling unloved, unwanted, unneeded, we just simply know on their behalf that they are indeed loved. They are supported. That is the nature of who we are. Loving, supporting beings. And it is that love that I call forth, the very love of God. Awareness that God's love is with us, within us, at this and in every moment. And so we just give thanks. Give thanks for the love in our lives. And now we just sit back and allow it to come to us. We allow love to enter our lives. We let it go. We allow it. And so it is.
So it is.